In this episode of Film Stock Reviews, I'm reviewing episode 9 of the offer titled It's Who We Are. Now this is getting down to the nitty gritty of what this show is, and episode 9 is the one that's in your face. Basically, the crew arrives in Italy to film the scenes that are in Sicily, but they get to Corleone to film. They sit down to meet, with the AD and everything, but then all of a sudden there's a guy named Bruno comes to Ruddy and everything, and Ruddy asks who that guy Bruno is, and the AD tells that it's actually the La Cosa Nostra, and Ruddy's like, okay, we gotta get out of here. So Coppola questions him, like, oh, what's going on, this and that. So they leave Corleone, which way they were supposed to film, and they go to a different location, Frosa d'Argo, and they find out this is the location they need to film. All the while they're doing their thing, they're having dinner, and Betty finds out through the secretary at Gulf and Western that Bluehorn is going to fire Evans. So they have to make some kind of adjustment. So Ruddy and Betty go back to New York and, try and figure out what to do with Evans. And it's an crazy scene. All the while, Lupitas comes into Evans's office and just kind of takes over everything. And the character of Lupitas, played by Colin Hanks, I want to say, is really, really interesting. He's more so the villain of this series, and it really, really shows. Lupitas is, saying no to films that should be greenlit and this and that. He sits on a meeting that goes on with another pitch where it's supposed to be about Paper Moon, if you know what that movie is, and it's just interesting how everything turns out, and Lupitas is trying to do things, and Lupitas wants to see a cut of it, and Evans is just doing his own thing, and Evans is down and out because Ally McGraw left him. His wife left him for Steve McQueen. So while that's happening, Ruddy enters the home of Evans through a window, and it's a great scene between Ruddy and Evans. Evans is just down on his luck, doesn't know what he can do. He's like, it's not anymore, it's about the movies. He's like, I'm not the king of Hollywood anymore. Whatever I touch doesn't turn to gold anymore. But that's what Evans was. Evans was the king of Hollywood at this time. Whatever he touched, it became a box office hit, and Paramount saw that. So Ruddy tries to give his 2 cents into Evans, trying to get him going. And in the next meeting, you see Lupitas. They're going over the poster and everything, and Coppola's there, Ruddy's there, Bluehorn's there. And while Lupitas is trying to, back down certain things, you see Evans come in and says certain things that undermining of what Lupitas was saying before. And even though Lupitas wants to take over Evans' job, you can see that Lupitas, in a great scene, is looking at the wall of accomplishment that Evans has, and it just goes and he goes to show, like, okay, can he really actually do this? So Bluehorn lets everybody leave, and it's just Bluehorn and Lupitas talking, and Lupitas is like, you know what? If it was me, I'd have a one-way ticket out of here for him. But then I would have been wrong. He's egotistical, but everything he touches becomes a hit. So Bluehorn is convinced that, Evans must stay. So Lupitas kind of changes the mind of Bluehorn. Bluehorn goes out to Evans and says, listen, if you could rewrite your history, how could you do that? And so basically, Bluehorn tells Evans, like, you're rewriting your own history, and Lupitas convinced me to keep you. And he just basically tells Evans right to his face, like, now go make me some fucking money. And you just see this smile on Evans appear. So Evans is untouchable now, and he goes to the restaurant where he always goes. He's going to sit with his friends, but then he sees Lupitas sitting by himself. Evans goes over to Lupitas and says, can I sit? And Lupitas is like, sure, why not? And Evans does this thing where he's like, there's no salmon on the menu, but they can make it for us. And so it kind of a interesting factor where Lupitas wanted Evans out. Evans was down on his luck. Evans comes in, and Lupitas kind of sees that Evans is that guy. And at this restaurant, you see that Evans thanks Lupitas by sitting down with him for dinner. It's a great arc. It's a great way of doing and writing. I absolutely loved how the whole aspect of this character is in this series. And my favorite character actually on this show is Robert Evans. You just see the dynamic of what goes into it. And Matthew Good as Robert Evans is phenomenal and fantastic. Not only that, there are scenes in it that you can see like, okay, this Matthew Good's really getting into the method acting of what he can bring to the table as Robert Evans. If you don't know who Robert Evans is, do some research. But also the under factor of this is that Lupita's wanted Coppola to cut out 30 minutes of the film because it was just too long, saying that they can't, get certain people in the theaters because of the money, the timing. 3 hours is too long, 2 hours is perfect, you can get more showings in, this and that. It was interesting to see how the behind the scenes works now that the film is slowly coming to its world premiere and how everything's going. This is a great, great show to watch if you're into filmmaking and if you want to know what goes on behind the scenes of the making of a movie. I mean, it's Paramount. Paramount made a series about them making a movie that they made back in 1972 or 1971 for that matter. I really enjoyed this. And not only that, Ruddy gets the the 2 or 3 prints for The Godfather, and he holds a special screening. And we see the special screening is for The Mafia. It's just a screening for them. They see the final cut first and everything, and they love it. It's really good. And then after that, Ruddy visits Columbo in the hospital and basically tells him that you would have loved this. He's like, and when you get better, I'm going to give you a special screening. This episode was really, really good. Probably my favorite episode of this series, episode 9, because you just see what happens, and all of a sudden when the character of Robert Evans comes in, it's like, holy shit, total game changer. I loved it. The writing was great. How the Evans and the Lupita story happened while the other characters were, sitting in the background. You see the editing room of Coppola trying to do his own film, but the studio won't allow it. It's great. It's fantastic. I love it. And this is only one season of this show, and that's it. This was just a special probably for the 50th anniversary of The Godfather, because 1972 it came out, and in 2022 it's the 50th anniversary. So it's great to see this. One more episode left. It's the series finale, episode 10 of The Offer, and I can't wait. Let me know in the comment section below what you thought about episode 9 of The Offer, titled It's Who We Are. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you think of it? Did you like the story of Evans and Lupita's and how that came to fruition and together in the end? Evans down on his luck. Lupita's is taking over. Evans comes in. Lupita's, kind of concedes to Evans, and then Evans thanks Lupita's in the end by, getting him dinner. It's great. I loved it. That writing was really, really good, and it's your normal writing of what you see, but this is so clear of how it was done that they just expanded it to a great, great point. And what do you think is going to happen in this series finale, episode 10 of The Offer? Let me know in the comment section below about the questions I just asked, and I'll see you guys in the next review video. And be sure you tune in next week for my episode 10 series finale review of The Offer.